Hey there, Ed McCormack here, founder of the crypto education platform, Dchained. Today's video, we're going to talk about one of the most widely discussed and also one of the most controversial topics in all of cryptocurrency, which is Altseason. In particular, are we about to see the start of the next Altseason and what it could mean for you and your investments in the back half of 2021 and going into 2022. So let's get started right now. So before we jump into Altseason and talk about what we could learn from the past and apply for the future, I want to highlight just a few quick disclaimers. And the first is you have to also keep in mind that just because something happened in past bull cycles doesn't guarantee that it's going to happen in the future. While it can be used for directional purposes and can help you draw correlations, it is certainly anything but a guarantee that it'll happen. One of the reasons being, which brings us to the second disclaimer, is that there are new participants in crypto. If you look around at crypto in 2016, 2017, when there was the last bull run, it was primarily driven by people like you and I, retail investors. While looking around today, there are big banks, other financial institutions, publicly traded companies, universities, you get it. Big places, big orgs with a lot of money, ultimately bringing us to that third disclaimer, which is despite the fact that cryptocurrency has evolved tremendously in the last 4 years, it's still relatively immature and ultimately highly sensitive to demand, inflows and outflows. And knowing that these big institutions hold a lot of money, and as Bank of America so kindly highlighted that Bitcoin's price can be manipulated up or down 1% with only 93 million, we're looking at a scenario where just because the crypto market acted a certain way, because we have new, bigger institutions involved that have a lot of money to throw around, that fact could ultimately change the direction and the dynamic of what the next half of 2021 is going to look like in the crypto market. So with all that legalese behind us, let's just jump into what is Altseason. Very simply put, Altseason is that time when money starts to flow from Bitcoin, then to Ethereum, then down to the smaller market capped projects and cryptocurrencies. And ultimately, it's an event that initially kicks off around the May every 4 years of the Bitcoin halving, which is just when the reward provided to Bitcoin miners is cut in half as part of a inflationary mechanism that's hard-coded in Bitcoin. So ultimately, simply put, it is every 4 years around the Bitcoin halving, a new bull run has historically occurred because whenever you reduce supply by 50% and maintain stable levels of demand or increase demand, inevitably you're going to get a lot of buying pressure on limited supply, jacking the price up. And what happens is that we have seen inflows of money, new inflows of money that was not already in the crypto market, flooding into Bitcoin first. It's the biggest cryptocurrency by market cap over the last 10 plus years. Inevitably, it is also the safest. When you have a large market cap, it generally has a hell of a lot less volatility than smaller market caps, where any inflow or outflow of demand has a much greater impact on the price fluctuation on any given day. So what we see, and this is a chart that has made its way over the years across Reddit and other social media platforms, is ultimately that exact cascade from big to small. And what happens and why investors get so excited about it is that if you look at where that inflow of money is going to, it's going to projects and cryptocurrencies that have smaller market caps, meaning when that demand hits that limited supply and that market cap restricted currency, it makes the price skyrocket. And that's why you generally will see the higher multiples, those 10, 20, 50, 100x multiples that crypto investors talk about like fishermen talking about that big fish that they caught or got away. They're generally talking about those small to medium cap cryptocurrencies. If otherwise, they have been in the crypto world for a long time and they got in on big cap, large cap projects when they were early on. But inevitably, what we look at is the Bitcoin halving and ultimately how money is flowing in and flowing out. And with that, this brings us to a really important metric that you need to keep in mind and that we're going to use for this analysis, which is Bitcoin dominance. Now, I know it sounds pretty weird anytime you talk about dominance, but inevitably, what it just simply means is the demand for Bitcoin compared to everything else in the crypto world. Everything else, by definition, is an altcoin. It's alternative to Bitcoin. And what we've seen in the last bull run of 2016 and 2017 is that the market dominance, or Bitcoin dominance, I should say, is an all-time high going into the beginning of the following year. So the beginning of 2017, and in this case, the beginning of 2021. And what you'll see is that it slowly declines with a pretty big steep drop going on between May and the end of July, with a new relief bump, a new relief support that is provided around August, September, meaning people are starting to wake up from their lazy days of summer. They start putting money back into the market. It also correlates with August and September, which generally is a very, very slow month in the overall stock markets. So money is flowing to where there's more activity. Inevitably, it creates a scenario where there's a resurgence of money coming into the overall market. But we also see that this correlates highly with massive price appreciation that we generally will see with Ethereum shortly after this period. And just to show you a side-by-side here. So looking at market dominance, or Bitcoin dominance of 2016, 2017, alongside the price appreciation growth of Ethereum during that time, where you roughly saw about a 22x in valuation appreciation during that period for Ethereum between May of 2016 and the end of July, early August of 2017. And then compare that to a very similar scenario that we're seeing here when you look at that Bitcoin dominance of 2020 and 2021 and compare that to the price appreciation of Ethereum during that same period. Now, slightly lower multiple, 15x, which by law of large numbers you would expect to see. It's just not going to be as big as it was when it was first introduced. But what we're seeing is a telltale sign that money is starting to flow out of Bitcoin and go to other projects. And while it sees a slight relief, many investors will ultimately feel that they've either missed the boat on these big returns in Bitcoin, or they buy into these technological advancements that are happening on other blockchains, inevitably setting up investors for a really strong 3 to 6 months. Now, again, highlighting that historical performance doesn't dictate future performance. And that could actually be a great thing for you because as we've seen in May and June, there was a pretty dramatic market correction, something that we haven't seen as dramatic of a pullback in previous bull runs. Inevitably, what this could be telling us is that this market that we're seeing today could actually be much more prolonged in terms of the bull run that we could see, with new banks starting to offer institutional grade investments, like Bank of America now offering Bitcoin futures, and Morgan Stanley and Goldman Sachs getting involved. You're seeing the big money starting to put their reputation and bottom lines on cryptocurrency. And you could bet that one thing that the banks are not going to let happen is to lose money. You'd be very surprised to see how quickly and how influential banks could be when that is threatened. So with that being said, what we're seeing today is a telltale, reminiscent sign of what we've seen in the past. And ultimately, if you are sitting here holding cryptocurrency, you should feel very bullish. And if you're not, and you're sitting on the sidelines wondering whether the time is right, well, the answer is, I don't have the answer for you. I can't guarantee on what day things will start to pick up, if it ever will. But what I could tell you is that history has generally shown that these trends, to some extent, have led to some, pretty sizable price appreciations as you start to pull back your chart and look at that mid to long term. So inevitably, there's no better time to act than the present. And this might be a perfect opportunity to get started. And with that being said, if you are looking to get started, come check us out at Dchained.com, where we not only provide all the educational information, but we're also now rolling out a whole new service where we provide our top 3 to 5 investing picks in crypto every single week. So come check us out at Dchained.com or summergains.com, something for the last 8 weeks of the summer. And if you like this video, make sure that you first subscribe to this channel. You then pound the like button, and please tell your friends and family. We're always looking to grow the Dchained community. So until next time, happy and safe investing. I'll speak with you soon.